Hey everyone, so we are starting our October Body Love IG series, and we have Chelsea joining us today. So while we're waiting for her to join, for anybody that's new to this, my name is Amanda Bicking. I'm the owner of Mend. I'm a style clairvoyant, body love coach, and hi, Megs, and designer. And if you're feeling called to uplift your style, to express yourself more fully, to celebrate your body, any of those things, I do styling and body love series, and I'm so excited about my 30-day style journey, which really helps you get to who you are and express yourself and do all that. So now that that's out of the way, Chelsea is, oh, she joined, so we'll wait a second to get her connected here and talk all about Chelsea. Yay, okay. We should have Chelsea here in just a minute. So if you ever have any questions or comments or want to know more about what I do, then just go ahead and send me a DM. I love answering questions. Hi, Chelsea. So happy to see you.
Nice to see you too.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I
Yeah.
was at the pool earlier and just kind of giving myself some sunshine, which always feels really good. So,
Yeah, I saw your lovely pictures. They were beautiful. Well, I'm really, really jazzed that we had people that wanted to continue this on in October, and I'm so excited that you wanted to share your story today. So, like the other ones, I figure we just kind of take it wherever we want to go, but I want to make sure first that you introduce yourself and you also let people know where to find you on Instagram and your business too.
thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm Chelsea. I am the creator of Conscious Seed. I have a really big passion for plants, and that's a really big part of my personal journey with connecting to myself through nature. So it's a really beautiful collaboration. And you can find me at Conscious Seed. So yeah,
Yeah, love it. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, wherever you want to start, do you want to kind of give like either where you are now with your body journey, where you've been, like wherever you kind of want to go? Let's just let you run to it.
Cool. Thank you. Um, so I don't know. uh, Talking about myself is not the most comfortable thing.
I know, me too, which is why I'm doing this instead.
Well, I'm glad to be doing it with you. Because you and I had talked together about different things about our journeys and how they're similar. But I guess like how I would, because I've been like sitting with like the concept of like body love and like what is body love? And like for
Mhm.
me, at least like within the past like couple of months now, I've been really realizing that my body is a vessel in the context of like it's earth, it contains things like spirit,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
and that's kind of helped me ground and embody myself in this way where I'm able to express myself from this more um, I don't know, like I just see myself as a vessel, and I see bodies as vessels and as temples, and I feel that that really keeps us here on this earth rather than like this whole transcendence thing of like going up into the ethers and whatnot. So my relationship recently has just been like how to work with that concept
Mhm.
and make it more accessible to share and teach with other people. So, and like that's a big part of like my process is that it all grounds you, it brings you into this psychosomatic, so mind body connection. So you're able to have this alive experience where you're able to like really connect and feel grounded within all the work that a lot of people are experiencing nowadays.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like for me, well, being grounded, you know this about me, can be difficult. Um, But I think the times where I've had a lot of triggers and stuff is when I'm really allowing this, anxious pattern of flowing and all the things that are in my head. And at times in the past, it's been almost like my brain doesn't even want to be grounded because then I have to look at myself, right? And I don't have to have the judgments with it and everything else, but like literally being like grounded in my body is like noticing it, right? Like respecting it. I think a lot of times when things feel hard or there's triggers with it, you want to like distance yourself from it or tell yourself a different narrative or story. And I think that's a journey I've been on more of this past year is like noticing and being giving a lot of gratitude for like how my body operates. Like when I run, I hate running and I'm not great at it. But when I do it, like instead of thinking about how I hate it the whole time, it's like thinking about how my muscles are moving. Like my legs are like literally like moving at the same time and carrying me and like actually noticing like how they're moving and stuff. And that's been like really helpful in me being grateful for what I can do instead of thinking about, how hard it is or what I can't do or my knees hurt or all the other things too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can also help you understand like how you can better support yourself. Like your knees are, you don't want to be doing it and like dreading it the whole time. So like
Right.
how can you support yourself so you can continue to do these things that's giving you this ecstasy essentially, and
Yeah.
it's like this whole redefinition of like what is ecstatic, how, and like that's a big part of like how I see body love too is like what feels ecstatic when I do it, like what feels so good and how can I make it feel maybe even better.
Yeah. And
So
knowing that it'll like change too, right? Like I think that's been something helpful for me too is like what just maybe I don't feel like running that day. Like maybe my body actually would just really like a really good stretch or to have a day of rest or whatever it is. Or I've tried all kinds of different things. And I think I get bored of things too, but like really seeing like what it actually needs and what to back off from. And I think that's been helpful for me too, because I tend to operate in extremes. It's like either like, here's a goal, I'm gonna try to do it, I'm gonna push my body and, maybe get hurt in the process because I didn't know what I was doing, or like doing nothing. So I think that's been like the nice, um, especially this past year for me, like recognizing and being more in tune with my body and understanding it more. Because I feel like it's just so easy to distance it in my brain and like focus on all the other things or what I want it to do instead of how it's serving me.
yeah, we have to think of our bodies as like this in this like reciprocal relationship, like I think that that's really important because what we give it, there's also like cause effect, like it could in effect harm us if we're doing something that's like not necessarily what our body's asking. And so we
Mm-hmm.
have to have this like consciousness where we're able to like tap in and ask like, so what do you need today? Like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
desiring right now? Because we're also cyclical beings
Mm-hmm.
and, with like hormones and all that stuff. But like we aren't the same. Like the moon changes its sign every 2.5 days. Like that's significant and like we are that as well. So I feel like that's very important to like consider when we're like, okay, well, on these days of my cycle, I have this energy and I want to run. I have this desire to create this inner fire. And then in other moments, it's like, I really just feel like I need to stretch. And then in
Mm-hmm.
other moments, when we're like at lower parts of our cycle, we can just like sometimes just like need to just take a bath or just massage our bodies, and
Yeah.
just like have that kind of like call and response, like and kind of relearn because we used to be these type of beings where we had this body mind consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
where we're able to have this like dialogue with ourselves, and now with like capitalist culture we kind of are always like we need to like always be the same and consistent and these goals and we have to reach these goals and it's just so hard.
Yeah.
And I've personally I've hit burnout when I was 25, 26. Like I hit it and I'm healing from it now still and I'm 29 and it's been like this journey.
Yeah.
you know, and I get called all the time, like, oh, well, you're too young to get burnout. And I'm like, I've been living in this society my whole life. Like, my history is like my parents were entrepreneurs, like Virgo energy, like really, really hard. And it's been destructive in a sense. Like, my
Mhm.
nervous system kind of really got shot. And it's because I didn't have that body mind connection where I was just going, and I
Yeah.
wasn't able to like slow down and like really check in with myself and to see what like was good for my body. And instead, like, the big part of like what I do and why I do it is because I've had that experience, so we like, yeah, it's a lot. It's deep.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What, like, aside from being, a nice friend to me and supporting me, like, what made you feel called to want to come here, like, share your story?
So in a community that you and I are a part of, actually, the conversation has been a lot about archetypes
Hmm.
and style and how that kind of can support us in our work, not just like our business, but in our life.
Hmm.
And so I've been really like diving into that concept and dressing and realizing why I've like put costumes on essentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I work at home, like I don't need to get dressed in the like every day. Like it's not something I need to do, but like for me personally, like it really helps support a type of energy within me that needs to come out. And so the body love concept is kind of like based on like style, but also like with what we were just talking about with body consciousness.
Yeah, and that's what I think is like really cool about like style and how this all goes together is like it's just another tool we can use, right? Like to, like you said, like maybe show up or bring the energy that we want for that day and to like use it, or to, for me personally, it's shown up in ways when like I felt really lost or not sure like where I fit in, or just really struggling to get through the day. And like just it's a, so I know for some people it doesn't feel easy. For me, it feels easy as like putting on a pair of earrings or something to just like respect my body or like have like a moment with it and be like, I'm adorning it or I am making a choice to do this. And that's why I think it's like really cool because it's so obviously like so connected. And in a way, I guess that's probably one of the things that's actually helped me ground the most when it's really hard for me to ground, because it's like forcing me to think about myself and what I want to put on my body and how I want to feel that day. Like, what's my intention? I love, Megs actually was saying last time, like, dressing for your day, like what your style is, right? Is like, what are you trying to do that day? And it's like, for me, it's very based on how I want to feel, but it's also like what you want to get out of the day and what you want to do with it too. So like, what are some of the ways you've been playing a little bit with it to kind of bring in different archetypes?
Um, so I'm the same about the adornment with jewelry. It's a really big thing for me. Like rings especially.
Yeah.
Um, they're kind of like when I put them on, I am that archetype. Kind of like it's a silly analogy, but like how Clark Kent puts on his glasses and then he becomes Clark Kent and then he takes them
Yeah.
off and he's Superman kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of like live by that in a way. Not with my glasses because I physically need them, but with like jewelry and dresses and flowy things. Like I've been working a lot with like feminine energy and like redefining what that is in this time. So like I'm wearing a lot of like things that are flowy and also that like remind me of like my ancestry, and I'm connecting to my ancestry through the way I dress, or at least my concept of what they would wear, and with what I can find, at thrift stores and stuff like that. Um, and so it's really helping me embody and connect to like my ancestry to the feminine archetype, which is like something that I'm physically working with, and like Venus energy. Um, as an astrologer, I learn a lot through like physically like putting something on and like acting like I am that,
Mhm.
in a way, like like kind of like theater in a way.
Yeah.
Um, I also just started wearing lipstick, um, for the first time, like ever. And I had like this really big awakening in a way where it's like it really, so like it's kind of, it's not silly, but like I wore lipstick for the first time when I was in kindergarten. And I loved makeup from the get-go. Like I always wanted to wear makeup just 'cause like loved it. And so I wore lipstick that my stepmom had given me. And I actually had a one of the parents of one of the boys that I liked, he came up to me and he traumatized me, um, with me wearing the lipstick. He started like doing some things that really made me feel uncomfortable. And I realized, and I just remembered all of this with a situation with lipstick and someone else, like commenting on it. And I like got like offended and hurt and scared. And I wanted to take it off really quick and like act like, like I just turned into like my kid version of myself. And then I stopped. I was like, holy crap. Like, I need to continue to wear lipstick, but I need to like really like understand like some things about myself, and it was really this weird situation. But like lipstick, like I love wearing lipstick now. Like it's like I still get nervous and like embarrassed in certain moments. Like, who am I to wear lipstick? But it's like one of those things that's been really supportive, for me really seeing who I am as a woman, because lipstick and woman kind of like go hand in hand together.
Yeah.
Um, it's so strange, but it's like it's one of those
Lip,
little things.
lipstick is, it's a strange one for some reason. I don't know. Like when I think about growing up, like my mom always wore lipstick. That's like
Yeah.
what she did. She didn't actually wear that much eye makeup or anything, but like she always wore like blush and lipstick. So like I don't know if it's like just maybe lipstick wasn't as like big of a thing like when I was growing up or something. I don't know, but it's interesting because when I wear lipstick, like I love a bold color. I feel like I really have to like settle, like you're saying, like my nervous system with it because it feels to me like really like showing off or being seen or something like that, which is interesting because I can wear some like pretty noticeable clothing and I don't feel that way. But there's like something about it on my face or something that makes it different. I don't know. I'd be curious if anybody else has like a thing with lipstick. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
same.
I'm like, oh yeah, when we went out, you were wearing it. It looked really nice. Um, yeah, yeah. And I love what you're saying too about like using it almost like theater, like clothing or makeup or however it is. And I think that's like a really fun way to play with it. And especially for those of us that are working from home or our job is home based or something like that, like you said, it can be like hard to be like, what do I need to dress up for? But um, thinking of it as like embodying a character or showing up on videos and like wanting to have that like energy or confidence or whatever it is you want to embody. Before I got on this, I was feeling, I have a little bit of a headache and I was like, what do I want to feel like? And I was like, I need to start acting like I'm running a company. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I want to like
yeah,
embody like that energy.
yeah,
And obviously make people feel comfortable and supported, all those things that come naturally to me. But like if I'm gonna sit here and like be on a live, which is not something I thought I would ever do a little bit ago, like that's what I want to feel like. I want to feel confident in that. And um they can be all kinds of things too, like around you, but how you make that choice of how your appearance is can be a really powerful tool. And I think that's something as women that can be like really struggling because we've talked about it before with some of my other guests that are on, but like needing to fit into this like societal mold of like being pretty enough for vain, but then like not being too vain. And so now I've been like thinking of it more as like this is like our way of being powerful because it's a tool we can use. And it's really amazing when you have that mindset with it.
yeah. And it feels really good. Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, I just saw what Max wrote. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. But yeah, so like also like wearing my hair and like covering my hair has been
Yeah.
really something I've been working with for a few years now, and um like incorporating that into an actual physical practice now.
Mhm.
Um which is more of like a private, like sacred thing for me. But it's been really, really impactful and supportive of my nervous system in some ways, with like containing the energy of the mind in a way.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like I've been for the longest time, I was just like wearing black, like black everything. And I still totally wear a ton of black. I love
Me too.
how it works.
Yeah.
But like lately I've been wearing like a bunch of like bright feminine colors. And it does change the perspective of how I see myself when I walk by a mirror. I'm like, oh, like it's different. And so I'm starting to like notice myself and notice different things based on like the colors I'm wearing.
Mhm.
Um, and I really like how that feels. I normally feel really like how you were saying with the lipstick and being really bold and like all that, like colors are like that for me too. I don't like to be noticed, but I don't want to like just not be noticed kind of thing. So
Yeah, me too.
colors are kind of like a little bit uh, like a little weird
Yeah,
for me.
me
I
too.
feel very vulnerable wearing colors. So I've been experimenting with like wearing colors at home and kind of seeing how it makes me feel before I go out and just kind of do it.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, color is like one of the things I love, like working with people on, especially like there might be something, and I do owe some time with you to do a style reading, but like with your aura colors, there might be things like in your aura, your energy that wearing certain colors might feel more vulnerable. But that's what I think is really fun is we can like play with color on our body or in our home. Like I have a pink lamp sitting beside me, and that's like intentional because then you can like put that intention, that mindset into the color, like what you want to call in, which I think is really cool. Shoot, there's something. Oh, that was what I was gonna say too. But I do think it is vulnerable because I've noticed one day I opened up my closet and my more like dressier shirts that required hanging instead of being in a drawer, I was like, it's white, black, and gray. And like a little sprinkle of like, here's one red shirt here, like here's one green shirt here. And I know what colors I like on myself. I love like a forest green. Um, and maybe I just haven't seen it or been drawn to something like that in a long time. But I was like, when I look at the bottoms, like my skirts, my pants, like all of that, it's like pink, neon yellow, like pants, like wild pants. And I'm like, I think there's a comfort too in like seeing things. I think it's like lipstick too, like seeing things close to your face, maybe. Like I feel very comfortable in darker colors that kind of blend, but then on the bottom, it's like free reign for me. I don't know. Also, like it's interesting now too that we're like camera up
Yeah, I'm
so
just
often now. It's actually changing my thinking. I'm like, maybe I should like get out of the black, white, and gray space because all you see is this. And you don't see the awesome pants I'm wearing on the bottom. But
true.
yeah, I think there's like something too with like how it like plays with our face or how we can see it maybe more in our spectrum. I don't know, but I think there's
That
interesting.
makes a lot of sense, actually. I guess that's maybe where my nervousness comes from with like wearing colors, especially like on the top part,
Mhm.
um, is like how that looks with my face and how that looks with my hair and whatever, like,
Yeah,
and like, then people looking at you, like at your like chest body, and that's always been like
yeah.
one of those like kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is a fair point. I was like, it's like the rules, which I think there are no rules in fashion, but like wearing like certain stripes like on your butt and things like that, like things that draw attention. But whether you
Yeah.
want to or not, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I wanted to go back to your hair if you don't mind. And I should have said this at the beginning. I've been trying to remember to say to anybody, like, of course, go as far as little as you want to go, but your I thought of it when you were talking about like tying up your hair or the scarf, the head wrap that you're wearing in your photo, which is really beautiful.
Thank you.
I kind of feel like your hair is a big part for you of your style, right? Because you used to have dreads, right? And
Yeah.
don't anymore. So it feels like, maybe not, but tell me, it feels like that's like a big part of like your self-expression and who you are.
Yeah, so I had my hair in locks for about 9 years. And there's like a whole backstory. And I'll just like briefly say my dad was a hairstylist, and I've had all these weird hairstyles since I was like 7, essentially like dyeing my hair and just chemicals and perms and wild haircut. Um, and I've always felt like I was his guinea pig. And in a way, I just like started falling in love with like natural hair,
Yeah.
like styles. And that was something that I felt would just like really make me feel who I wanted to be. And I was like 19, 20 when I started getting my hair in locks. And so that was like a big part of my identity. I felt a lot of people I did like saw me as like, oh, hey, you're the girl that has that hair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was really like, it was weird because like in moments I liked being noticed and I didn't have to do anything else special because like that was how people remembered
Yeah.
me, and my identity kind of was built around that. And I started like seeing a lot of people like starting to do their hair in that way that's just not appropriate, and there wasn't like an intention and like understanding of the culture and everything like that. And like I'm not one to educate, but um like since taking my hair out of the locks, I really have been like having this like breaking point where I'm like, who am I like
Yeah.
without my hair? How do people identify me? Like, how do people see me? Like, I have to like really like to get noticed. You know, I do markets and stuff, so I want to be noticed. I want to be
Yeah.
approachable. I want to seem professional, but also accessible and nice and friendly. I don't want to look all professional, and that's not me anyway. But I also, like there's like this whole new like, who am I? Like, how are people going to approach me? How are they going to remember me? So I started wearing like a hat to kind of like act like this is the girl that always wears the hat that sells
Yeah.
like plant products, and she's the herbalist and the witchy like mystical lady. And so I'm just like trying to find these new ways to be identified because I am a Leo, and there's no escaping that. And like this sense of like identity is really important to me, whether I want it or not. And that's something I've struggled with since I was a kid. So it's just one of these like, it's a part of my journey, and it helps me help other people better because I've kind of like been there, done that. And I'm, like not shying away from realities in a
Yeah.
sense where I'm like still figuring it out, but also being like, trying things out and not being afraid of it. So,
Yeah, I saw that Meg just said that makes sense on why you liked the mane. Yeah, it makes total
yes,
sense. Yeah,
yeah,
I was just
yeah.
thinking that too. Even your hair, like now, is like it's like
I
so
like
like
big
pretty and
hair.
like
Like,
big and like
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
big hair. Like it's a really big thing for me. Like when I was a kid, I wanted a perm so bad just so I could have like really big hair. And like my dad, he has like super thick Italian curly hair.
mm.
And I just got my mom's like hair. And
We've talked about that a little bit though too. Like as I was like, oh, your hair looks really good. I was like, I think we have like a similar hair type, and I always want mine to be bigger, but this is like all it does, unless I curl it. But even then, it like wilts and
yeah,
it needs to be
instantly.
like a certain
Yeah.
length. Yeah.
This is me with like sweat in my hair, and I'm just like
Yeah.
constantly
Yeah, the more
like
dirty, the better it is. Yeah.
constantly touching
Uh,
it.
yeah. But I mean, that's like such a big part of our identifier too, which is why I asked about like you and your hair, maybe how you like to wear it, because, that's like such a personal thing to us too, and how we present ourselves out and show ourselves. For
Yeah.
a while, I think at work, I was like my thing was that I would have different hair color. Like I was like bleach blonde at one point and like real short and cropped. It was like blue streak at one point. Um, and that was like the thing. And then I just went back to like my natural hair because it's just easier. And I'm like, oh, I actually like
Yeah,
my hair.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
funny.
that's
People were
something I
like, oh,
commented on. I'm like, I love your hair.
yeah.
I love
People are
it.
like, oh, you don't do anything wild with your hair. And I'm like, so that obviously was like a thing, like how people identified with me for a period of time.
Yeah.
I love what you were saying too about though, like trying out like a hat now and like seeing if that's like what you're seeing for. Because again, that's like that's your character that day,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
like how you
Yeah.
show up. And I think that's fun to play with. And
It is. It's really like, I don't know, like it's the hat that I wear when I'm going in public. It's like I keep it in my car and I put it on and I just feel like I can like do anything
ooh,
with
I like
people because like otherwise I'm super introverted, like enormously. Um and then like when I go out in public, like I have to put on this character and I need help. So I'm just like, all right, my hat's gonna help me. Like it's kind of like a mind fuck in a way, but it
I,
really works, you know?
yeah. Well, I love that it's in your car too, because it's like literally as you're like transporting yourself,
Yeah,
you're like turning into it.
yeah, like I start with music and then I start with like just like smiling while I'm driving. I'm just like smile. Like you're gonna be needing to like work with that because otherwise I'm like, and like
Yeah,
what's important to me is like to be approachable because I feel like one of my things when I'm out in public and I want to talk to people is that I don't feel that everybody's approachable.
right.
Um, and I'm super sensitive to like body language and eye contact is really big for me. So like if I'm not feeling that, then I'm not going to feel comfortable. And I want everybody to feel comfortable with coming up and asking me any question. Like I
Yeah,
am so open. Like I love it. I love having intimate conversations with strangers. Like love it.
yeah,
And I want to make sure that I am approachable and that I have this energy about me that is like accessible to people, that's like the people that are like supposed to come up to me will come up to me. I'm really, really like, I love that about people and about going out in public. I end up meeting some really, really interesting people. So, and like
yeah. That
body
makes
language is really important to that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me now because like I'm extremely introverted too. But I love like that's why I love what I'm doing, which is like much more one-on-one with people and like really understanding some of their vulnerabilities and like how you express yourself. Because style, I made a post on it. Style is absolutely vulnerable or can be vulnerable. But I love, yeah, like the meeting people, like understanding them, the one-on-one part of it, so that like makes a lot of sense to me about markets too. And I love that you are saying, that that's really important to you then to like be approachable and like I feel like it's like magnetizing people by just like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
energy.
That's a great word to use is like style, body language, like attitude, like all of it's like so magnetic and like I totally feel you with the one-on-one work. Like I am trying to move more into that. And then it's also like I feel like I have like mini one-on-ones with people when they come up to the booth. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Hey, what's going on? Like I'll help you like figure out exactly what it is that you need. And then we just have this like beautiful conversation and like I love that. That's why I continue to do what I do, because of this magnetic energy. And I feel like fashion really does have a humongous role in that, like
mhm,
I make sure that I smell really good.
yeah,
It's really important to me because I feel like that's an approachable thing, and I make sure, like I'm smiling and I'm not looking like I'm staring into space being like, can I get out of here now? Like
right.
and it's all real because it's all like I'm just embodying that character that I need to be, and then I know when I go home like I can like do what I need to do and like take care of myself both when I'm physically in the physical space in front of people, like working with that archetype, and then also when I'm at home like taking care of myself then too. And I feel like style helps you take care of yourself. Like I'm wearing my super cozy like sweater right now and it's like has all these memories. Like I got this
Right.
I was like 7 from like my mom's best friend, and like it's one of those pieces that I will never get rid of, and it brings me that energy, and so that's something that's really like supportive, and it's
Yeah.
stylish too. Like it's super stylish now.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. Yeah, for sure. Like it's very emotional and like I'm all about like things that are heirlooms or like have like meaning or emotion with them. And that's why one of the questions I ask people like when we start to work together and I ask them like just a few questions to get to know them, I always want to know like even if it's just one piece, like what's the thing that when you wear you feel amazing or you feel most like yourself or and again that can change depending on how you want it to be, but I think it's really telling of like what makes you like what lights you up or makes you feel good about yourself. And I think for me, the way I started playing with style when I was a teenager was that because I'm so introverted, like I almost needed something outside of me to like get noticed a little bit or to like speak for myself when I couldn't use my own voice. And that's when I started like I'm gonna say loosely making my own clothes, but like embellishing things. Or I went to a Catholic school, so we had to wear uniforms, but we used to like cut our pants open to like make them flare out, and I'd like hand sew the things in them and stuff. And it's,
Oh, I love
I
it.
think that was what was so helpful for me, and I think that's still like the pieces I love. I always tell people about my space shirt. It's like just I don't like button-up shirts, but for some reason this one I'm fine with. It's a button-up shirt. And it's got like a space print all over it. And there's this one episode of The Office I always like jokingly talk about. I'm like, there's that one where Michael walks in and he's wearing jeans and Pam's like, when he wears those jeans, he thinks he is like amazing. He's like dancing in them and stuff. And I'm like, that's my space shirt. I've worn it to an interview before because I'm like, I don't feel good in like a suit or anything, but I can wear my button up space shirt and like have a little personality to it. And
Yeah.
like that's why I like what you're talking about. Like your hat is like your, your market look. Like your that's your cozy sweater that like has all these like beautiful emotions like associated with it. I have my dad's pajama pants that I made him in high school,
Mhm.
and like he like joked about it. There's like a whole joke behind it. But when I wear them, like it reminds me of my dad, which is nice, but it like feels like home too.
Yeah.
And that's really meaningful too. And that's why I keep trying to tell people too, like style can be whatever you want it to be. Like if you're gonna feel amazing wearing those pants today, like those pajama pants around the house, then you should do that and like have that mindset and love it and feel really amazing with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's like so lovely.
No.
I actually just inherited, I guess, some of my grandmother's clothes. She had passed away recently,
Yeah.
and some of her stuff is very flamboyant. It's like, talk about like female energy. Like she would just like her outfits are just ridiculous. And so I took some of them and I haven't worn them yet, but I'm like, I need a good excuse to. So like maybe on our next friend date, I'll figure out how to wear it
Yeah.
because it's like
Let's
they're
do
just
it.
amazing. And like I also like my grandfather passed away like 10 years ago, and she had kept one of his shirts, and it's like a pajama shirt, and so like I wear it now, and it just, I don't know, like ever since I started wearing it, I feel like I have this like relationship
Mm-hmm.
to like their love,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, like to the love that they had for each other, like like without all the bullshit's gone, but just like this love. And it just like whenever I wear it, and it has nothing to do with love, it's like a sports t-shirt, but it just has this like feeling about it, and I love wearing it. It's like super huge. Like it's just so great. It reminds me of my grandpa enormously, and it's just
Oh,
like
I'm like so
one
I'm
of those
getting so
pieces.
jazzed. Yeah.
And like normally people, like it's like in style, like I could wear it with like some kind of like athletic pants, but that's not my style. Like I don't go down that road unless I'm like just at home.
Yeah.
I'm out. I like to dress like I'm going on a date. like I'm just like even when I go to the grocery store, I like today like I dressed up. Like I wore like a nice flowy shirt and like jeans because I live 45 minutes from like literally anywhere. And so
Yeah.
like any reason to like get dressed up and to be seen is kind of like big for me.
Yeah. To be seen.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, and I need that, like being in high school, like back on like what you were talking about with like being seen without having to like communicate who you were and like your style kind of spoke for you, like same.
Yeah.
That was really big for me. Yeah, I would embellish my shoes. I would like darn them. My grandma taught me how to darn, and like
Oh, I
Toms
love
were
that.
really like very popular at the time.
Yeah.
So I'd like start darning like little like X's and hearts and
Oh,
flowers on
love
my
that.
shoes, and like put like bells on them. So like every time I walked, I would like have this like bells go off, which is like ridiculous. But it was like it made me feel like me.
Yeah.
And I still do little things like that with like my purses and like other things, but no, not as many bells now.
But I love that because it's like a literal embodiment of like how we were talking about like not using your voice, but like that was like bringing like sound in when you weren't using your voice.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
really
I was
cool.
so shy as a teenager. It was like really, really like social anxiety was really big for me.
Yeah.
And I still get it in moments, but like the archetype of like putting the hat on and like, and working with herbs is really, honestly, without herbs, I wouldn't be able to even do this.
Hmm.
And it's been really cool to like see my evolution, and I constantly have this like, if only I could tell my younger version that like these things about myself
Yeah.
that I know now, like I kind of
Yeah.
do that a lot. And I still dress for my inner child. Um, like I see pictures of myself and I dress the way I did when I was a kid. Like my
Hmm.
mom would put me in like dresses with a big baggy thing on, like that's pretty much what I'm wearing right now, and then Converse or like Doc
Hmm.
Martens. And like I like do that now still, and I'm just like, okay, like is this okay? Like I'm gonna be 30 sooner than later. Like is this
It's
still
totally okay.
safe, Like
Yeah.
I'm not dressing like I'm a kid, but like it really feels like healing. And it
Yeah.
puts it like, I don't know, like I love it. Like I really, yeah.
I think that's really key. And I'm glad you brought that up because I've worked with a couple people that have gone through that too. And I think I've gone through it as well, like in certain moments or ages, and then like becoming a mom, I went through it as well as like, what does a mom dress like versus like
Yeah.
what I want to dress
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, mom shouldn't be wearing this. But I think I think there's a lot of healing to it. Yeah, and I think it's you're you're seeing yourself, even though it's like your child self, right? And I think what feels really empowering and really cool and almost magical is like knowing how that those things that you loved as a child or how you dressed as a child like do translate up into who you are, and that feels, I think, like really powerful and fun. I did a board for someone that we just she loved like I was like, I feel like your style is kind of like a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper, and she was like, yes, and I was like, love it, I can roll with that. And part of it was she did want some things that felt a bit more elevated or more feminine, or
Yeah.
she loved vintage, which is always like my jam if somebody is interested in that, but still like loose and flowing. But then there's like the other part of her that's like, I feel like you need to, yeah, you absolutely need to continue this and feel this because it's what makes you feel good and like you and has. I mean, there's a reason why we have so many memories associated with growing up and no comfort and things like that. But it was like, look at this like amazing shirt that has fun patterns on it and is bold, or look at these types of colors. Color was really important for this person
Mm.
too. And I think that's great. I was also getting really excited when you're talking about how you feel in putting on oh, I saw Loving Pink too. How you feel when you put on that one shirt of your grandfather's, I think you said. I have a belief that like items I always use the analogy of Frozen 2, which I recognize that everybody has a 4-year-old like me. But in it, the snowman Olaf talks about like water holding memories. And,
Mm.
how like, it's longer than us, it has more memories than us. And then like I really do believe that like clothing, like rings, like tangible pieces, like store energy and memories too. And what I think is really cool is that sometimes they live longer than us too. And so it's like generations of different things. And I mean, that's why some people can feel like uncomfortable in a home because it has obviously like energy in it. I think
Yeah.
clothing's like that too. So I think that's really cool that like you said, you like feel like love, but in like a different way. There's probably
Yeah.
just some of that like associated with that clothing, just really a really cool way for you to like take on and have this memory too of people that were close to you.
Yeah. Wow. That's like, I love it. Because yesterday I was talking to a friend, I'm like, everything has consciousness. And she's just like, Chelsea. I'm like, I know. And so we were just like having this like, oh my God moment. Because it's true, like even clothes do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm getting ready, like especially when I'm like gonna be hanging out with like some friends, I'm just like, what wants to be on my body and like
Mm-hmm.
seen by this person, like what wants to be noticed by Amanda,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah. And
sometimes
like,
it's
what do
so
you want to
easy.
communicate to me too?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, yeah, which I think is really cool.
yeah. When we
Because
got together, I wore pants that reminded me of you, and I'm just
I
like,
know when you said that, I was like, yeah, I love a high waisted, wide leg pant. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I know that you thrift a lot too, and I think that that's a really nice way too that like your style gets to come out because then it's like one of a kind pieces. I need to do your reading and see what your archetype is because I'm sure it has something to do with like one of a kind or like you said this like Venus energy and things like that. But I think that's really cool too because then as you are going to markets and you're showing up or you're like thinking about going to the grocery store and how you want to dress up, like it's already going to be unique to you because it was unique to somebody else in the past and it is one of a kind at this point, right? Like if you're
yeah,
finding it there, I think that's like just another way to express yourself that's just really cool and affordable too.
yeah,
That is the and we talked about it last time we were together. Like the part that I personally have tension around is like style and fashion and accessibility. And there's lots of ways you can look at it in how you choose to spend your money or not. But some of those things are very privileged and have that too. But in terms of like where you find clothes or who you borrow it from or what you do, like it can, or it's just a nail polish color. Like there are ways that you can express yourself that don't have to be high fashion or like crazy things like that that feels unattainable to people. And I think I think it's like a hard line because sometimes I'm like, oh, this feels like hard or guilty or like you have to have privilege to have certain things, but then other times it's like, but for a eyeliner you can get, at the drugstore or something like that, you can really change your look too and feel different about yourself too.
yeah, yeah. That's really true. I love going to the thrift store, and I just started setting an intention before I walk in. And it's more of like a calling in, where I'm like, who wants to show themselves to me? Like,
Mm.
and
Ooh,
so
yeah. Because
it's,
yeah, you're like hunting and like it's like very treasures and like, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
yeah, so like lately it's been all these crazy colors. Like I found like this red dress, and I don't wear red. Like red scares me.
Mm.
But my mom has always been like, Chelsea looks so good in red though. And I'm just like,
You would
oh,
look good in red. Yeah.
like I get so like that's one of those colors where I get like nervous. Like everybody's gonna
Red is an intense color and energy. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I got this dress and I wore it yesterday to the farmer's market, and I got compliments on it, and I'm just like really still like it was hard for me to take the compliment, I was just like, "Oh, thanks. It's just, but I'm like, what the heck? Like red is a great color. It is like as Holland is saying, like it is a power color.
Yeah.
And it's also fire, and I have a lot of fire in my chart too, but like
Oh yeah.
yellows have been coming up. Um, like I don't even know, just like colors have been coming up. So it's been really interesting what's been like showing up for me lately. Not as many black things. I still find one or two things, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, red too is a tricky one too because it's like it's also can indicate like being in touch or out of touch like with our desires too and like what we're looking for. So sometimes I think depending on what's going on with you, it can feel hard. But yeah, it is a power color. I like to play with it on days that I feel like I need more like power, energy, or booster to like literally like sit up a little straighter or even have hard conversations where I tend to like think ahead of time that I'm going to shrink. Like I just have that in my head already. So I'm like, no, let's like help
Interesting.
you with it, like help the mindset. And to me, that's all it is. Like style, it's just like helping you visually have a different mindset or remember things. So like if I see myself now, I see myself in the camera a lot these days. It can be like seeing myself in red. But like I said, I have like two red shirts, right? That's it. Or on Mars Day, that's Tuesdays, right?
I, I think so.
Yeah,
I love Thursdays and Fridays because it's Mercury and Venus,
yeah.
and yeah, I do a lot of my verbal work on Thursdays, or like I try to plan my one-on-one work on Thursdays because I feel like I'm gonna
Mm,
be more there. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. Well, I think you can definitely play with color too, like in like accessories or like smaller things like that too. You can like bring that in. But I love that you're saying about like what is like going to call you or what's going to like show itself in the
yeah,
thrift store. It feels very, very fun about finding like treasure because that's what thrifting is like finding treasure in, you know, what's there. I think that's really cool, really
yeah.
fun.
I'm the weirdo girl that's just like whispering to the clothes. I'm like, are you supposed to like? What
I like
about?
it.
Tell me about yourself. Like, are you good for me? Like, I'm like,
But
I
I
try
mean,
to
I
be
think there's
very like
truth
subtle
to
about it.
that, especially with secondhand clothing. Because like um, I had a black dress for a little bit that I mean I think looked good on me. It was like a 50s dress. I mean, it's more like formal, it had pockets, very cute. And I just like when I put it on, it's not that I didn't look good in it. It's not that it didn't fit me right. Like it just didn't feel like it felt like not great energy. And I was like, I don't think I can keep this. Like, I think there's something, like, to the point that I was like, I think there's something more to this than just like, it's not for me or my, you know, who I am or my archetype. Like, I was like, I don't think this is right for me. So I think there is a little bit to that, especially secondhand clothing. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I tend to um put smoke over my clothes, not
Yeah.
just to like fragrance them, but also to like clear their energy too.
Yeah.
And I've just started hand washing like a lot of nice things,
Mm-hmm.
which has been like one of these like it's just so beautiful. I don't know what it is, but like all my delicate hand made things and the silks that I've been finding and like just the vintage things, like I've been like hand washing them and then like putting them up to dry in the wind
Mm-hmm.
outside, and it's just been like so dreamy, and it feels like I want to wear that because it's has that like that quality to it of like it has the wind, it has the sun, it has
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, and sometimes they leave it out overnight. And like it has the sun and the moon energy in it too, and I feel that it's just like this like ceremony when I'm putting it on. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's really really cool that you're
Mm-hmm.
intuitive to feel that about the dress.
Yeah. I love like the thought. I used to like hand wash certain dishes of mine that were like handmade and I really like them. They are dishwasher safe, but it just felt like
Yeah.
very caring for something that was like so special to me. Nowadays they go in the dishwasher because of time. But there is, yeah, I think there's something there again about like, you know, that intention of like how you care for something. My Beth that was on a couple weeks ago, like I know that, you know, she's talked about the intention of like your skin too, and like your skincare and things like that, or how we treat our bodies. And I think that that can be the same with like what we put on our bodies or the things in our home. Like style too is about, I mean, mine's not a great example right now, but like what's, you know, what's in our room and what's around us too, and how we care for it. So I love that. I was telling my sister the other day, there's lots of things that I'm trying to do to be more respectful of the earth and like more sustainable and use less waste. And I was like, it's interesting. My parents did a lot of that growing up. And I don't know if, I don't think it was like necessarily the same conscious act that I had. I think it was more like being frugal. But my mom always hung the clothes out. Like I always remember that. And it's like you said, it's like nice. Like they like it has like a different smell of like being outside and like the fresh air and that sort of thing to it too. It's like really lovely. Again, that's like a comforting like home feeling for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's more of that like romance. My
Mm-hmm.
mom never hand washed anything. My stepmom never hand washed anything, you know, having like four kids and owning their own
Yeah.
business. There's no time
Yeah.
and like have the time, the space. And I realized that my grandmother actually like loves doing laundry and
Mm-hmm.
she hand washes a lot of things. So that's like something that I've been like working with. I don't do the laundry in my household, my partner does. But I do the hand washing and I
Mm-hmm.
really, it's been like very romantic.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it just, I don't know, there's just something so romantic to like walk outside and like see the wind playing with the clothes. It's just, I love it so much. I could
Oh,
like watch it all day.
yeah. That's really beautiful. I love that. It makes like it feels very on brand to me about like what I know about you too and like your business and all of it. It's like just like a nice, like beautiful
Yeah.
container. It's like so lovely how you described it too. Yeah, I love that. Um, we are coming up on the hour mark, so I don't want to keep you a whole lot longer. Is there anything else you want to share or you feel good? I think this has been, I feel like we went like in lots of circles and it all just like came back so nicely into like a nice little package.
Sweet. Yeah, I feel um I don't think I have anything else to say.
Yeah.
I really just appreciate you creating this container,
Thank
the
you.
conversation. Like, I think that it's a really, really, really important conversation to be having. Um, and I hope that it just creates thoughts within people to, I don't know, like to consider how what they do for their body and how
Yeah.
they love their body and like what that does for themselves, and how that fills them back up,
Yeah.
and how when they're filled up that they can offer a fuller experience to other people and to their family and to their kin and to their
Mm-hmm.
community, you know. So like self-care is community care. So
Oof.
it's something that really
Yeah.
uh, I live by, especially coming from that um, time in my life where I was burnt out and I wasn't able to take care of myself. And I realized like I have to like put myself in this position of taking care of myself first. And that was really
Yeah.
hard. And it is really, really hard, especially like being a caretaker, you know, not for like anything for anybody, you know, like in my business, I'm a caretaker in moments. And if I'm not filled up, then I'm not able to show up and to give my medicine to the fullest extent that I can. And
Yeah.
it goes on the simplest of levels, you know, like just if you're not filled, like you have to fill yourself up first so you're able to give to other people. So self-care is community care, and that's something
Writing that
that's
down because that
beautiful.
is, oof, that hit me. That was good. That was amazing. Yeah, I mean that hits me in so many ways. That's where I started this business and where I like tried to shift some of it and in becoming a mom and feeling lost and all that kind of stuff too. And it's like you said, like for those of us that are like inherently caretakers or natural, that's just like natural to us.
Yeah,
It's really hard to do.
yeah,
But recognizing that when you feel better about yourself or you're taking care of yourself or you're showing up, like it just magnifies out to other people.
yeah,
And yeah, ugh, that's so good too. It made me think too, in a time when I needed to learn that lesson, actually my community was like so much bigger then too. Like it like really made me open up my eyes or like in that instant, it like grew. Like I had so many people
Yeah.
like dropping off laundry detergent on my front porch, like help, like helping. And it was really, yeah, really cool to see how that all came
Yeah.
together.
I've had that realization too when I like realize that it's not selfish. Um, I realize how many people I actually have around me that are like desiring to help me because they're filled
Yeah.
and they have extra, and then I'm able to like pass that along too, and it's just this like it's this reciprocal relationship, So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining. This has
Thank
been more than ever
you.
expected it to be when I just put on my stories who wanted to share. So, I've said this last time too. If anybody feels called that they want to share their story or, think it would be helpful to someone else, I would be absolutely thrilled to host you. So always just like shoot me a DM. I might do another story in later in the year, ask if anybody, or later in this month, ask if anybody wants to, because I think it's just been like it's been very healing and powerful for me to hear everybody's stories, and I think just that sharing in community is really important. So yeah, send me a DM if anybody wants to, and if anybody wants to learn more about Chelsee, head over to Conscious Seed, or if there's anything that we've talked about today that sparks interest in you, you want to check out with me, shoot me a DM or head to my link in bio. But really, I'm just glad everybody's here, and I'm so glad to have you here, Chelsee.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
All right. We'll talk later.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.